Now at 8, after 17 months of investigation, the NTSB is meeting to decide who or what is to blame for last year's Alaska Airlines door plug blowout over Portland.
Also new this hour, the search is on for 3 suspects accused of a mob attack at a homeless encampment in Olympia.
Stupid. I mean, there ain't no reason for it. I've seen a lot of people beat up in there. I hope they do find them, whoever did it.
And later, the latest on the ceasefire between Israel and Iran, as President Trump says both countries violated the agreement.
You know what? We basically have 2 countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what they're doing. Do you understand that?
Good morning, and thank you for joining us live at 8. I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. Rod Hill, are you standing by?
I'm here, yes.
Can you match the president's intensity on this Tuesday morning?
Ooh. With better vocabulary, I might add. Here's a look at our Snookwinds Casino Resort camera. We have cloudy skies, kind of foggy in some areas. There probably is some mist being reported, although I haven't seen the actual observation site say that. This is Snookwinds Casino Resort in Lincoln City. And understand there's cloudiness yet to come today. So any sun you get will be brief, and I bet a lot of you just stay overcast. It's 54. You get away from the coast, though, and the forecast is sunny with warming weather. Here's Portland, looking up I-5, you can see the Convention Center towers and the Moda Center, 61 degrees with calm winds. This will be a really nice day. I have a 69 degrees at noon and then 83 the expected temperature at 5 o'clock. Cloudiness increasing later today, but no moisture with those clouds, so enjoy a nice Tuesday.
Thank you, Rod. Your time now is 8:01. Let's take a look at your drive times right now. I-5 having a little problems there. It's going to take you 29 minutes to get to from Main Street to I-405, and then I-205, 16 minutes from Patton Parkway to I-84.
All right, we are learning more information thanks to a meeting this morning with the National Transportation Safety Board about what went wrong when a door plug blew out of an airplane over Portland a year and a half ago. For months, the finger has been pointed at Boeing after a preliminary report found 4 bolts were missing from the Boeing-made plane.
Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz has been watching this morning's meeting and joins us from the newsroom. So, Thomas, what more do we know here?
Well, Drew, in China, the NTSB says you can't point to one thing or one company, for that matter, for the full scope of the problem here. Regardless, Boeing is receiving a lot of the blame. The NTSB says that 8 people were injured after this flight took off from Portland and the door plug blew off 16,000 feet in the air. Preliminary reports from the NTSB found 4 bolts to secure the door plug were missing after the aircraft underwent repair work at a Boeing factory in Washington.
This accident never should have happened. Since this accident occurred, there's been a lot of focus on human error, on the actions of 1 or 2 individual Boeing employees. Let me be clear, an accident like this does not happen because of an individual or even a group of individuals.
Now, throughout the meeting, the NTSB has pointed to several problems at Boeing, like inadequately trained staff, ineffective management strategies to deal with a diminished workforce, and overly complex part removals. But they say it's not just Boeing leadership that needs to take responsibility.
For there to be continuous improvement at Boeing, production line personnel must recognize their shared responsibility in supporting a positive safety culture and identifying hazards and risks.
Now, NTSB leaders say Boeing has made great strides in the year and a half since this happened. They do add that there's still challenges facing Boeing that the company does need to address. And it's not just that company, Boeing that is, that's facing scrutiny from the NTSB. The Federal Aviation Administration also has questions that NTSB leaders say they need to answer. Drew, China.
All right, Thomas Schultz live for us this morning in the KGW newsroom. We're also covering a developing story in Olympia this morning. Officers are searching for 3 people accused of attacking a woman at a homeless encampment.
Officers say that the attack happened when the woman walked into the encampment to return a bike to a friend, and then the group started blaming her for a recent overdose death. Police say she was repeatedly kicked, hit with a baseball bat, sprayed with bear spray, then say someone in the group played Russian roulette with a loaded firearm that they stuck in her mouth and pulled the trigger. The woman is now out of the hospital. So far, 4 people have been arrested, and police believe that 3 more are involved here. Our sister station, Seattle, spoke with someone who lives near the encampment.
Stupid. I mean, there ain't no reason for it. I've seen a lot of people beat up in there. I hope they do find them, whoever did it.
The encampment is known as the jungle and has a history of violent incidents. Others have been attacked and one person was killed there. Neighbors are hoping that this incident will prompt the city to clean it up.
Police arrested the man accused of shooting at officers and leading them on a chase in Portland last Friday morning. The man's name involved here is one of the most memorable in a crime story that we've covered lately. He goes by the name Looney Tune. U.S. Marshals found Tune in Sandy yesterday afternoon and called in the SWAT team to help with the arrest. Last Friday morning, Milwaukee police tried to pull him over, but instead they say he ran into a patrol car and then took off, firing shots at officers while they chased him. Tune already had an outstanding warrant. His new charges include attempted murder.
A bank in Clackamas is dealing with quite a bit of damage after a thief used an excavator to rip out a drive-through ATM and steal the cash inside. Turns out the excavator was stolen from a construction site near the U.S. Bank on Sunnyside. The construction company says the thief had to have some sort of experience or they wouldn't be able to turn the equipment on or even operate it. Now it's dealing with a damaged excavator and a shut down work site.
Yeah, we're definitely behind not only with the schedule, but just with the equipment costs and the replacement that it's going to be to get a new piece of equipment in.
We're working to find out if the sheriff's office has any suspects.
Portland police tell us they pulled over 20 people and made 3 arrests during a street racing crackdown this past weekend. They say they also towed 4 cars away. Oregon's new reckless driving law lets the state take and potentially keep any vehicle used in street racing.
Oregon's DEQ says last month it fined 9 people a total of more than $800,000 for violations. Those violations range from the city of Reedsport dumping raw sewage in state-owned waters to improper management of forfeited drugs in a drug take-back program. You can get 20 days after being notified to file an appeal with the state of Treasury.
All right, Blazers news this morning. According to ESPN, the Blazers are trading Anthony Simons to the Boston Celtics. In exchange, the Blazers are getting this guy, 2-time All-Star and 2-time NBA champion, Drew Holiday. Weirdly enough, Holiday was part of the Damian Lillard trade to Milwaukee 2 years ago, but instead of coming here to Portland, he was immediately dealt by the Blazers to Boston. As part of the Simons trade, the Blazers will also give up 2 future second-round picks to the Celtics. Simons has been here since the Blazers drafted him in 2018, averaging close to 20 points a game the past 4 seasons. We'll have to wait and see if the team makes any more moves before tomorrow night's draft. Right now, they have the 11th pick in the first round. You mentioned, Rod, it's always sad to see a homegrown player, a guy you drafted, be shipped off. But while he did score a bunch, the man played very little defense. And Drew Holiday is known for his defensive ability. So we'll be interesting to see how that all plays out next season.
And I'm also thinking potentially how much higher our second-round picks are than what Boston's second-round picks are, and we're giving them our picks. Obviously, they're not in the lottery. We often are.
Well, and they're years down the line too. It's not this year's second round, so who knows where these teams will be?
Oh, they didn't. I'm sorry, they didn't mention what year.
Future second round picks.
Crazy how they do all that.
Future.
Right? All that paperwork. All right, beautiful day today. Good morning. We do have clouds. I stole that from China Green. Good morning. She's wearing off on me. We do have clouds along the coast this morning. Could be some misty weather there. Otherwise, our cameras generally show sunshine. Here's the Oregon Veterans Home camera out in the Dalles. It's been a light wind morning. You're at 64. You are one of the spots that could get up to 90 today from Wasco County out through Umatilla County and out toward up toward Pullman, actually. And you will see the westerlies kick in this afternoon. Not extreme stuff. Models are showing some gusts 15, 20, 25 this afternoon for you. Otherwise, away from the gorge, pretty much another light wind day, including at the beach. Here's the sunny blue over Portland this morning. We're 61 degrees. Other temperatures. Of course, we are now in the 8 o'clock hour, and we are warming up. Sandy's at 57. But a lot of 60s, including West Lynn now up to 64. Gresham's already up to 66, 64 in Kaiser and Salem. So if you look at those numbers, you would think Portland could easily be 70 at noon, if not warmer. We'll see. The forecast for the beach, this is the outlier. The cloudy skies for the most part expected throughout the day. Temperatures just up into the 60s. Your winds will be light. And again, some of you may be picking up a little bit of mist this morning. This afternoon's map. Generally, it's a mostly sunny day. We are expecting some cloudiness to increase later on, but look at the 80s up and down I-5 and the central Oregon, and generally 80s out east. A couple spots will get up to 90s where you see the orange colors there. Our 7-day forecast for the Rose City. After today, big change, only 60s to 70 at most, I think, tomorrow and Thursday. Both days could be cloudy much of the time. Could be some light moisture fall out of a low cloud deck, but then we're back to sunny 80s for the weekend. Back to 86 on Sunday, and that is your forecast.
And we've got some traffic to tell you about. Slow going right now on I-5 South from Main Street to I-405. Cars traveling at just 20 miles an hour. That drive from Main Street to 405 is 25 minutes long at this point. Patton Parkway to I-84, meanwhile, on 205 South is still moving pretty smoothly. It's a 17-minute drive at this hour.
Just living with the constant threat of missile fire.
Still ahead here at 8 o'clock, we're hearing from a Seattle man who says he is stuck in Israel while the country deals with a strained ceasefire agreement with Iran. Also, we're talking burn bans in effect throughout the area right now. Firefighters, meanwhile, warning people to be extra cautious to avoid sparking wildfires as fireworks sales begin both in Oregon and Washington.
KGW's Evening News. Important stories to help you stay informed and keep your family safe.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Christine Vidawanich.
And I'm David Molko.
Weather impact alerts to help you plan your week.
We need to be extra careful with anything that can throw a spark.
And a team of local journalists connected to our community. David Molko, Christine Vidawanich, and Matt Zafino. Your Evening News team, tonight on KGW.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Wildfire season is well underway at this point. Burn bans are in effect across the region, and fireworks sales started yesterday in Oregon. For more on all that, here's KGW's Catherine Cook.
Burn bans abounding in the Portland metro. On Monday, they took effect across parts of Washington, Multnomah, and Yamhill counties and the city of Portland.
Everything is pretty green right now, but we have a lot of fuels that are going to soon be drying out, and those fuels are perfect and ripe for burning.
Rick Graves with Portland Fire and Rescue says everyone should recognize that metro areas like Portland are at risk for major fires under a lot of different circumstances.
We just need to look back to January and the Los Angeles basin and the tremendous fires that occurred then.
The burn bans vary by county, but generally prohibit recreational campfires, fire pits, burning yard debris, and agricultural burning. Under the bans, you can still use barbecues and smokers. If you're using charcoal, just make sure to dispose of the ashes in a metal container.
And all it takes is an errant spark from your backyard, fire pit, or even a grill that can get things going, and we could have some devastation right at our footsteps.
The burn ban coincides with Portland's fireworks ban, which took effect in 2022. The year before that, 3 people were killed in a Northeast Portland apartment fire after investigators say someone inappropriately disposed of used fireworks in a dumpster.
We recognize that fireworks just simply aren't safe for personal use.
Bigger picture, the state fire marshal shared this warning with those planning to burn legal fireworks, which went on sale in Oregon Monday.
Our message is simple today. We want you to be safe, protecting both people, property, and certainly our natural landscapes. That means using fireworks responsibly and understanding those risks.
That was Catherine Cook reporting for us this morning. By the way, fireworks sales in Clark County start on Saturday. Of course, a lot of items sold in Washington are illegal in Oregon. So if you light them in Oregon, you risk a $2,500 fine. For more information on fireworks rules in the state of Oregon, you can text the word fireworks. To that number on your screen, it's 503-226-5088. We will text you back with a link to the Oregon State Fire Marshal's website. There's also a new twist this morning in the public access to Oswego Lake story. The city of Lake Oswego plans to close the only public access point to the lake over the 4th of July holiday. Access will be closed from Thursday, July 3rd through Monday the 7th. The city is citing safety reasons for the closure, which does not, by the way, apply to anyone that actually lives on the lake. Earlier this year, plaintiffs won a long-running legal battle to open up the lake to everyone.
For some reason, the public is perceived as not able to recreate safely, but on all other lakes and rivers and the ocean in Oregon, the public is apparently okay to do that. So I don't know what makes this lake so special and different that the public continually needs to be shut out of it.
We're waiting to hear back from the city of Lake Oswego for more clarity on why access is being limited during the 4th of July holiday weekend.
All right, time now is 8:16. It is summer. We have summer weather. We have hot temperatures.
Not hot. You mean today?
No, like across the country.
Oh, across the country, yes, you are correct.
She's looking at the big board behind
I'm looking at all the red on the right.
Oh, yeah, you're one. I forgot I was even starting with that. She's one step ahead of me, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Not unusual. Here's. All right, let me get serious for a second. This is a big story. It's really, in terms of the size and scope of this heat wave, it's the first really big one. I think that's a fair statement across the country as we're now in the summer season. So this is 4:30 this afternoon, showing 99 in D.C., 95 in New York, 95 in Atlanta. Heat indices are expected to be 100 degrees plus in many of these areas, which means it's humid and there are excessive heat warnings up and down the East Coast. Now, the backside of the hot weather is somewhere back in the Midwest, really getting more into the plain states. There's Denver right now at 79. Of course, it's, Phoenix is 98 currently, by the way, well up into the hundreds today. But out where we are, it's really nice. Currently 74 degrees, or not currently, but it's projecting later today, only in the 70s up in Seattle. All right, here's our local weather, and we're seeing all dry weather in Oregon and Washington this morning. No moisture with these clouds, but we will see some cloudiness increasing in our skies, but not until later this afternoon into the evening hours. Now, we do have cloudiness at the coast this morning, and those clouds may not break today. But the rest of us, the majority of today is going to be mainly sunny with increasing clouds, again, not until late afternoon going into this evening. There's mainly just a clear sky from Chehalem Tasting Room in Sherwood. Now, that is just absolutely gorgeous. Looking at the hills rolling. That's why they call it rolling hills, right? See, it's kind of rolling, yeah. 64 degrees temperature. Here's the Oregon Zoo. It's going to be a warm afternoon like it was yesterday, so hat, sunscreen, some water with you is a good idea, but I mean, not terribly warm or too warm. We'll be in the low 80s, I think. Here's the Oregon Zoo camera up in the West Hills. Portland's temperature out at PDX is 61. We'll be, I think we're going to be 70 at noon, so I'm going to change that. Those are my own numbers I put on the day planner. 83, the expected high, maybe 84. We'll see cloudiness increasing a little bit later today. We're certainly having a warmer pace to our morning than we did 24 hours ago, and yesterday was 82. All right, 59 up in Seattle currently, at 64 out in the Dalles. Warm spot on the map right now is Pendleton, 67. You folks in Pendleton are expected to be up into the low 90s today. Here's the increasing cloudiness later this afternoon, and this is a solid low marine deck of cloudiness that could produce some traceable amounts of moisture. This is tomorrow morning. We may not get out of the clouds tomorrow. If so, we probably don't hit 70. And then that pattern's still with us Thursday. We may not get out of the clouds Thursday. But after that, everything points to a sunny, warming weekend. All right, back to today, 84 degrees in Salem. Expected Southwest Washington numbers likely to hit 80 or better today as well. Winds will be light here in the valley. There's the maybe we hit 70, maybe we don't department tomorrow and Thursday with the gray skies generally. Maybe some cloudiness clearing late in the day Thursday. And then right now the weekend, 82 Saturday, 86 on Sunday. And that is your 7-day forecast.
Thank you, Rod. Your time now is 8:19. We have a traffic alert for you right now. ODOT reporting a disabled vehicle in I-205 South at Park Place exit. You can see it there on the left of your screen there. The left southbound lane completely shut down with an emergency vehicle directing traffic right now. So definitely prepare to slow or move over for worker safety if you're headed that way. Still ahead at 8, the latest on the excessive heat warning affecting more than 170 million people across much of the eastern U.S.
KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Yeah, President Trump this morning not sugarcoating the situation in the Middle East, saying that in his view, both sides violated the ceasefire agreement. His statement came after Israel accused Iran of launching missiles into its airspace after the ceasefire was supposed to take effect and vowed to retaliate. NBC's Keir Simmons is following the latest developments from Iraq.
Hey there, good day to you. The Israeli military vowing to respond robustly to what it describes as a severe violation of the ceasefire by Iran. Iran denying it. Here in Iraq, there have been strikes overnight, according to the government here. It leaves US personnel on bases like this one here in Erbil on high alert once again after a dramatic 24 hours in which Iran fired missiles on Qatar, 14 missiles, 13 intercepted. The other seems to have gone astray in some way or other. Then just hours later, President Trump announcing the ceasefire, and NBC News told by officials and diplomats with knowledge of the talks that the ceasefire was brokered by President Trump, Vice President Vance, the Qataris talking to the Iranians and to the Israelis. That ceasefire taking hold overnight, and President Trump in the early hours of the morning saying on social media that neither side should violate it. Now, just hours later, reports that the Iranians have fired missiles at Israel and Israel vowing to respond. A diplomat with knowledge of the talks tells me this may not be a complete collapse of the ceasefire. It may be a one-off, but to say it is fragile is an understatement. Keir Simmons, NBC News, Erbil, Iraq.
And right now, Israel's airspace remains closed to commercial flights, trapping many foreign travelers in the country. And that includes a Washington man who's trapped in the crossfire. Randy Kessler landed in Israel on June 6th for what was supposed to be a vacation with friends. But for the last 2 weeks, he says he's been hiding from Iranian missiles.
Friday morning, I was in a friend's apartment, and all of a sudden we heard the sirens go off, and the sirens are, loud enough that they jar you. At first, it goes on your phone.
The phone alert looks like this. If there's a threat in the immediate area, air raid sirens blare out. Kessler hid in a bunker several nights in a row with 24 others. Missiles that hit a nearby hospital even flew directly overhead. Now Kessler is trying to cross into Egypt in the next few days to find a flight home. Here's your morning rush. A Homeland Security special agent is expected to take the stand again this morning in the Sean Diddy Combs federal sex trafficking trial. The agent is a summary witness. That means that he can explain how documents like flight records and phone calls line up with travel that support sex trafficking charges. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all 5 criminal counts. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has contacted Tesla about the company's new robo-taxis in Austin, Texas. This after online videos allegedly showed the taxis using the wrong lanes and speeding on roads. Tesla began limited robo-taxi service with a dozen or so cars in the city on Sunday. And TSA says that close to 19 million Americans are expected to travel for the 4th of July period from July 1st to the 7th. It predicts Sunday, July 6th will be the busiest day. And a reminder, if you are flying, real ID or another acceptable form of ID is required to get on board. And the Washington Monument in D.C. is closed today because of the heat. The city is expected to reach 100 degrees. Much of the East Coast is under an excessive heat warning affecting more than 170 million people. And that's a look at your morning rush. Coming up in our next half hour, we take a look at controversial proposals that some lawmakers have to change the state's kicker, their goal to fund public education. And then later, whether you call them food carts, food trucks, Yelp seems to love Portland's food scene. We take a look at a few that top the platform's list for best food trucks in the country.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
KGW's 6 o'clock news. Important stories to help you stay informed and keep your family safe.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Christine Pitawanich.
And I'm David Molko.
Weather impact alerts to help you plan your week.
We need to be extra careful with anything that can throw a spark.
And a team of local journalists connected to our community. David Molko, Christine Pitawanich, and Matt Zaffino. Your evening news team. Watch weeknights at 6 on KGW.
Good morning, I'm Drew Carney. The Kittitas County Sheriff's Office in central Washington says Travis Decker may no longer be alive, and it's redirecting some of the resources to find him to recovery efforts. Decker is accused of killing his 3 daughters after their bodies were found over 3 weeks ago. Despite questioning whether he's still alive, the Sheriff's Office wants to stress that the manhunt is still very active and public tips are still welcome. All right, Rod Hill, what do you have for us weather-wise?
I have beauty in the form of our sky cameras showing sunshine this morning. It is cloudy at the coast, but inland areas are going to be treated to another mostly sunny day with temperatures getting up into the 80s. 64 in Salem right now. Portland lagging a little bit behind out of PDX at 61. Here's your day planner. I have up the noon projection to 70 and then about 83 at 5 p.m. We will see cloudiness increase later today. And then we actually are expecting solid low clouds Wednesday, maybe on Thursday. If so, hitting 70 would be the absolute most. And there could be some traceable amounts of light moisture falling out of those low clouds. Upcoming weekend, though, still looks sunny and warm.
Astronomers at the University of Washington got a first look into the deepest parts of space at the new Rubin Observatory in Chile. A watch party inside the planetarium brought together scientists and students to witness what's being called a new era of discovery. The Rubin Observatory will soon begin as the largest survey of the sky in human history and is expected to help unlock mysteries about the universe, including dark matter, galaxy formation, and more.
Rod Hill?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, first of all, welcome to the 8:30 half-hour sunrise. Sorry, you want to say good morning to anyone?
It's Rod Hill is all we care about right now.
In all your 60-plus years, how many questions have you asked about dark matter? Do you have unanswered questions about dark matter?
All I know about dark matter, I literally learned from the Wrath of Khan Star Trek movie. But can I ask you a question?
Okay.
I can't wrap my mind around when they look through that telescope and they're actually able to identify what they're looking at so many millions of light years away. And I can't wrap my head around how that's science, how you can specifically know exactly what you're looking at. Can you guys?
Hurts your brain.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I was going to say, what's your question?
Are
you alone? No, you're not alone.
Okay, well,
we're on board with you.
All right. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, as the saying goes. Here's a look at the Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City. A solid cloud cover. It's foggy, so you've got to assume there's somebody saying, hey, a little misty here. Certainly as you bounce up on some of those heads in the hills. 54, coast expected to be cloudy all day, I think. Portland expected to be sunny much of today, with cloudiness increasing a little bit later on. We're at 61, so we're at least going to be as warm as yesterday, which was 82. I've got a 70 at noon. I've got clouds increasing later today, 83 at 5 p.m. Maybe it's warmer. By the way, still experiencing, as I'm sure you know, the longest daylight minutes of the year within a minute or so this year. 5:22 is a minute past what the earliest sunrise was, but 9:04 is still holding at the latest sunset time we've had so far this year. Here's the afternoon map showing clouds at the beach, temperatures around 60 degrees, 80s up and down I-5, mid-80s over in Madras, could be nearing 90 in the Dalles, and Pilton's expected to be up into the 90s, but generally LeGrand, Baker City, John Day down to Burns, pretty comfortable and pretty similar to what we'll see up and down I-5 with temperatures in the low 80s on average. Our 7-day forecast, if you're just joining us, here it is. 83 today, and then we have solid pushes of marine cloudiness again tomorrow. Could be a 2-day deal with a lot of clouds, limited sun, maybe some traces of moisture at some point dropping out of those low clouds. The moisture fields don't look overly thick to me in depth where I have great confidence that we're going to get some precip, but we'll see. Friday we pull out of that, 75, and then the weekend everything still shows we're back to sunny, warm weather. 82 on Saturday, 86 on Sunday. I think for a lot of people, this will be a welcome change from the needed rain that we had last weekend. And that's your update.
Thank you, Rod. Your time now is 8:33. Taking a look at traffic right now. The left lane of I-205 South at the Park Place exit is now open. We told you about this 15 minutes ago, was shut down. There was a vehicle blocking that lane of traffic. That happened for about 30 minutes, but traffic is still slow around that area, so keep that in mind.
2 property owners, meanwhile, impacted by this month's Rowena fire in Oswego County, are suing Union Pacific for allegedly causing the fire. They say one of Union Pacific's trains caused the fire after it shot sparks into dry brush near the tracks. They accuse Union Pacific of failing to comply with federal railroad safety and inspection laws. They're seeking damages for the loss and destruction of their property, plus compensation for evacuations and also lost wages. It's important to mention that the official cause of this fire has not yet been determined.
Late last night, a crash created a major backup on I-84 near the Lloyd district. This video is from about 10:30. ODOT closed down 3 of the westbound lanes on I-84 for nearly 2 hours. Police say that there were 2 vehicles involved in this crash. One rolled over, and it appears that the second car left the scene. One person was taken to the hospital. We don't know their condition.
There were also 2 serious crashes involving motorcycles in North Portland last night. They happened within a couple of hours of each other. The first one was over on North Greeley near the Adidas headquarters. just before 7 o'clock. Only the motorcyclist was involved in this one. They went to the hospital with serious injuries. The second crash happened at 9:30. That's when a motorcyclist crashed into a semi-truck at North Columbia and Fisk Avenue. This motorcyclist later died at the hospital. The driver of the truck, meanwhile, remained at the scene and is cooperating with investigators. Police believe the motorcyclist here lost control after hitting a set of railroad tracks, and that speed was also a factor. The National Transportation Safety Board is holding a meeting this morning to determine what went wrong when a door plug blew out over Portland about a year and a half ago. For months, fingers have been pointed at Boeing, which designed the plane.
Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz is watching this morning's meeting and joins us from the newsroom. So, Thomas, what are you learning?
Well, Drew, in China, the NTSB says that Boeing certainly holds its fair share of responsibility for this door plug blowing out 16,000 feet in the air, but adds that they're not the only ones responsible. 8 people were injured in this incident a year and a half ago. Initially, the NTSB says the flight crew thought that some passengers had actually fallen out of the hole in the plane. It wasn't until they landed that the crew realized everyone was still on board safely. Preliminary reports from the NTSB found 4 bolts to secure the door plug were missing after the aircraft underwent repair work at a Boeing factory in Renton, Washington. The NTSB says there was an array of missteps they found at Boeing, like inadequately trained staff, ineffective management strategies to deal with a diminished workforce, and other problems.
Process instructions for parts removals was overly complex and had a history of compliance issues, including unauthorized removal of items.
The NTSB says production line workers also must better understand the important safety role they play as well. While Boeing is a large focus in this meeting currently ongoing, they aren't the only ones under the microscope.
Since this accident occurred, there's been a lot of focus on human error, on the actions of 1 or 2 individual Boeing employees. Let me be clear, an accident like this does not happen because of an individual or even a group of individuals.
And Chairwoman there, Jennifer Homendy, says that it's a miracle that nobody died in this incident. She also says that she has questions for other agencies, namely the Federal Aviation Administration. Drew, China.
All right, Thomas Schultz live for us this morning there in the newsroom. As the Oregon legislative session winds down this week, some local lawmakers are working to change the state's kicker.
One proposed bill would slice away from money from the kicker and give it into things like public education. For years, school administrators, teachers, and parents have been trying to fund more state funding. Oregon students have long lagged behind in math and reading scores, and parents say that the state has underfunded school systems for decades. Democratic State Representative Mark Gamba says that his bill would help boost up the most vulnerable Oregonians.
A big chunk of what we return every year is to the wealthiest Oregonians, people who don't actually need it.
Pollsters say any changes to the kicker will be politically unfavorable, though they add that if changes are made, the best time to do is now, with elections more than a year away.
The legislative session ends officially on Sunday, so that means time is running out for lawmakers to also pass the state's massive transportation funding package. And that time crunch is leading to some heated debates. One of them was caught on camera. So yesterday, Senator Chris Gorsuch and Senate President Rob Wagner resigned from the committee that's working on this transportation package. Gorsuch's resignation stems from him interrupting Representative Shelley Bosshart Davis during a committee meeting last Friday. She was criticizing the package. He talked over her. Here's how the exchange ended.
When we talk about being grossly irresponsible, that's what this is. I will be a no on this vote.
Excuse me. You are impugning all of us that have worked on that bill. So stop with that.
I used Representative Gamba's words.
Stop
He said
with
grossly
it.
irresponsible.
You've made
so
your
I used
point,
this.
Representative.
I'm using words
You've
that somebody
made
on
your
this
point.
committee actually used.
You guys, that's it. That's
Enough.
it. We'll carry this into another room.
Professional lawmakers right there, ladies and gentlemen. Bosshart Davis filed a complaint against Gorsuch. Meanwhile, 9 Republicans boycotted yesterday's work session in protest. Gorsuch told KGW that he offered his resignation to allow the committee to focus on completing this transportation package. Now, we also mentioned a moment ago that Senate President Rob Wagner resigned. So last week, he removed Democratic Senator Mark Meek from the committee. Meek, we know, planned to vote no on the package. New committee members have since been appointed. This story is far from over, but again, time is running out. The session ends on Sunday. Our team at The Story did take a closer look at the transportation package itself and heard from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. You can watch that full report on our free TV app, KGW+. Just look for Monday night's episode of The Story.
Some local Republican lawmakers are responding to a proposal in a federal bill that could put millions of acres of public land up for sale. And we first brought you this story last week after environmentalists raised concerns about the proposal.
I think that public lands are set aside to be our national treasures, and I don't think that that should be in a budget bill.
They're worried about natural landscapes being ruined by developments or potential oil or gas drilling, but Washington State Representative Phil Fortunato says there's a provision in the bill that would give states or tribes a shot at buying the land first.
Why in the world would we allow the federal government to maintain control of state lands within our state when we would have the opportunity to have that control locally?
This is part of the Trump administration's Big Beautiful Bill, which is being debated in the U.S. Senate right now.
In an update this morning, the Oregon House of Representatives passed a bill on Monday which, for at least now, appears to settle the argument of how to pay for the rising cost of fighting wildfires in the state. House Bill 3940 raises money through a tax on nicotine pouches. Specifically, it would add a 65% per container tax on tins of 20 pouches or less. Lawmakers estimate this will raise about $30 million over the course of 2 years. Democratic lawmakers say the bill also updates how rural working lands are assessed and protected from the threat of wildfires and creates a fair cost-sharing system between small forest owners, grazing landowners, and the state. The bill also creates a program that would help homeowners in fire-prone areas retrofit their properties to meet fire safety standards.
A Portland couple is warning local seniors about a scam that cost them more than $10,000.
This is a real heartbreaking story. It started with a phone call to the husband. He's 87 years old, by the way. That phone call said that he had won a prize through the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes, but the prize, he was told, had some conditions. Here's KGW's Alma McCarty with more.
On June 9th, I was flying back from New York, and I couldn't reach him.
Iris kept calling and calling, hoping for the best as she made her way back to Portland, home to her husband.
When I got home, he says, I have good news for you. We won Publishers Clearinghouse. We're going to get a big check. After that, I had a meltdown.
Because while she suspected this was, in fact, a scam, her 87-year-old husband fell victim to a morning phone call.
And the second prize is $850,000. and $150,000 in cash. Additionally, I was going to get a 300 Mercedes SUV.
But in order to make that happen, the caller said they'd need some money first, meeting up with the man at this Chase Bank branch in the Pearl.
Walked in behind me, and I said, how much money do you need? He said, $10,000. I said, what's that for? He said, well, we need people to insure the car, give it license plates, install the plates.
And while that sounded reasonable to him at the time, and he withdrew 10 grand from the bank, even going as far as driving with the scammer to CVS for an envelope and then to the post office to mail it, he soon realized it was too good to be true.
I used to be a very bright guy, and I feel very stupid now having bought this.
Iris wishes the bank teller would have called a manager or in some way intervened.
None of this would have happened. And it's not like he looks like a young man. And there was a man like shadowing him. And were you already starting to get nervous then?
Yes.
Both Portland police and Chase Bank confirming with KGW that they're looking into this case. Detectives working to track down surveillance video that may show the victim with the suspect. The couple hopes those investigating will take the scam seriously.
Everything I've done, I feel I get to a dead end. They go, yes, we noted it, right? And get somebody on the phone and say, look, this is what we're going to do for you.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Now, that man, before realizing this was a scam, went to the bank again that day to get another $1,500 to buy gift cards. And because this is such a wide-reaching scam, officials have some red flags to look out for. For example, here, the legitimate Publishers Clearinghouse will never call in advance, nor will you ever have to pay to claim a prize. Whether you call them food carts or food trucks, Yelp seems to love Portland. After the break, we are taking a look at a few that top the platform's list for best food trucks in the country.
KGW's Evening News. Important stories to help you stay informed and keep your family safe.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Christine Pitawanich.
And I'm David Molko.
Weather impact alerts to help you plan your week.
We need to be extra careful with anything that can throw a spark.
And a team of local journalists connected to our community. David Molko, Christine Pitawanich, and Matt Zaffino. Your Evening News team, tonight on KGW.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
Yelp has released its list of 100 food trucks in 2025, and Oregon came in third place for the most food trucks to make the list. So 7 of those food carts are here in Portland. Coming in at number 24, Chachu Local, serving up barbecue from the Mariana Islands. And in 20th place, Lolani's Plate Lunch with Hawaiian plates. Baked on the Run scored the 18th spot on the list. It's the only Guyanese eatery on the entire West Coast. And then the highest ranking food truck for Portland was Yoshi's Sushi, landing in the 15th best food truck of 2025. So if you were wondering who had the most food carts to make the list, it was Hawaii that got the first place, 25.
25 carts in Hawaii.
I assume those are Hawaiian. I would assume.
Could
You
be.
said 1 or 2 of ours were Hawaiian too, so people love Hawaiian.
You think all the 25 food carts from the state of Hawaii that are on this list all serve Hawaiian food?
Sounds like I'm being baited into something bad.
No,
here.
I don't know. I mean, all the food trucks in Philadelphia don't serve cheesesteaks.
Well, that's disappointing.
That's a good point. How about this? Sushi's, what was it again?
Yoshi's.
Yoshi's with an apostrophe S. Sushi. Can you say that 3 times fast?
I don't want to.
Okay, then don't. You got weather for us?
I do, Mr. Carney.
You feel like doing that?
We have a good weather day. Hey, you know, we get different products come to life during the 7, 8 o'clock hour that we can't show you during the sunrise hours. And one of those products that comes to life, if you will, is the visible satellite picture. This is basically a satellite. It's like you were sitting up there in space with your own camera. So it's real photography. It's not infrared imagery, which is what we typically show you on satellites. It's kind of hocus pocus infrared imagery with temperatures, where we're assuming that the temperature layering becomes what the clouds look like. But we know this is real. It's just a snapshot. So you can see the cloudiness up and down the coast, which we've been reporting. And here's that little sliver of cloud cover that made it up into Kelso at one point, but it looks like those clouds are now already backing off. So all inland areas are enjoying, I mean, there may be some haze, but otherwise just beautiful sunshine. That's what we have over our state capitol building, 64. It's going to be an absolutely gorgeous sunny day today until cloudiness increases, but that won't happen until late afternoon going into this evening. Here's the Chehalem tasting room. We got some folks at work there on the four-wheeler from Sherwood. Action shot. Vroom, vroom. There we go. Temperature is 66 degrees outside. Here's downtown Portland, our classic shot looking at the downtown cityscape from across the Willamette. 61 in Portland. Other temps, 64 out in the Dalles. Mostly 60s right now. I mean, Burns is almost there. Baker City's at 52. Futurecast shows increasing cloudiness, but not until later today. Then here's a big change. So today we have sun. We're back up in the 80s, but low clouds may not break tomorrow. Could be some traces of moisture with them. This is later in the day tomorrow. If we stay cloudy all day tomorrow, we're probably only in the 60s for highs. And Thursday could be a similar setup. That was Thursday morning you're looking at. All right, back to today's numbers. So enjoy the sun and warmth because it will be cooler and cloudy the next couple of days. Winds will be light. That showed 84 in Salem, Southwest Washington, Longview. According to the visible satellite imagery, you're now sunny and you'll get up to about 80 today. Portland, 83. The cloudy, cooler weather. I've got 70, but you know, maybe when I see the depth of the low clouds tomorrow morning, it's possible we'll only be in the 60s, so we'll see, but you get the idea. And there could be some raindrops out of those clouds. Becoming mostly sunny Friday, starting to warm up, 82 Saturday, 86 Sunday. If we hit 92 on Monday, that would be day 3 of 90-degree heat this summer season now. All right, our birthday list begins with a golfer. There's Xavier, who's 9 today. Happy birthday to you. Getting ready to take a whack at it. Millie is 12, number 1 on jersey there. Happy birthday to you. We've got Zoe's 15 today. Happy birthday to you. Fun photo. Isaiah and Isaac, I said it backwards, but here you go. 17 today. Happy birthday to you. And we've got Rob, who is 50 in Happy Valley. Hope you have a great day today, sir. Happy birthday. Birthday's at KGW.com, and we will celebrate with you.
All right, we're talking traffic as well before we head to break here. A look outside, I-84 at 28th. Not bad right now. Top of your screen, that traffic moving a little bit slowly, but again, smooth for the most part around the area as we approach the 9 o'clock hour. In fact, we can back that up with some drive times. Drive times, there they are on your screen. The only one that I really should point out is that one in the middle of your screen. That's the drive from Troutdale to I-5 on 84 West. That is still a 32-minute drive at this hour.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
KGW's Evening News. Important stories to help you stay informed and keep your family safe.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Christine Pittawanich.
And I'm David Molko.
Weather impact alerts to help you plan your week.
We need to be extra careful with anything that can throw a spark.
And a team of local journalists connected to our community. David Molko, Christine Pittawanich, and Matt Zaffino. Your Evening News team, tonight on KGW.
Quick recap of some of this morning's top local stories. A motorcyclist died after crashing into a semi-truck in North Portland at around 9:30 last night. This happened at North Columbia and Fisk Avenue. Police believe the motorcyclist lost control after hitting a set of railroad tracks and that speed was a factor. In an update to a story we covered last week, police say they arrested the man accused of shooting at Milwaukee officers and leading them on a chase into southeast Portland last Friday morning. The man's name is hard to forget. He goes by Looney Tune. You see him right there on your screen. U.S. Marshals found Tune in Sandy yesterday afternoon and called in the SWAT team to help arrest him. He already had an outstanding warrant. His new charges include attempted murder. The Bird Alliance of Oregon says it's seeing a surge in injured animals. So because of capacity issues, the Alliance is temporarily reducing intake hours at its wildlife care center. The new hours are 1 to 5 p.m. That's instead of the usual 9 to 5.
And our 7-day forecast, I mean, it's really nice outside. Sunny skies for the most part today until clouds increase, but not until later this afternoon or this evening. I've got us 83, maybe it's warmer. But then the next couple of days, we may not see the sun. Could be solid clouds, chance of some light moisture, temperature 70s or cooler, 70 or cooler, I should say. Right now, the weekend looks nice, 80s and sun.
I'll tell you where things are slow right now. We're going to take a look at I-205 over by the Westland Highway 43 exit. That is southbound traffic that's slowed there on the right-hand side of your screen, approaching that, again, that Westland exit that takes you on to Highway 43. So even though we're approaching 9 o'clock in the morning, the traffic situation in some spots, not clear yet. But I'm sure by tomorrow's start of the Sunrise Show, everything will be great again.
That's the way it works.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think what the best thing is that now that we are officially in summer, we are officially seeing sunny days. Sunny days, warmer weather, nothing really matters after that.
Don't forget the next 2 days won't be that way. But the weekend upcoming
And we
looks
just
great.
have today, Rod.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, China Green would like us all to be quiet for a moment and focus on today.
Take in today, take in the moment. And just a reminder for you, you know this, but you can watch sunrise here every day, 7 to 9 o'clock, exclusively on KGW Plus. We're so happy you found us here.
Yeah, Monday through Friday. I'm not coming in on a weekend. You said every day.
Well,
The man likes specifics. The man likes specifics.
my Lanta.
I may not be here Christmas, just saying.
Hey, do you remember what we called this shot earlier, Rod? What do we call this picture?
That's the camera from the Pioneer Park building
We
looking
called it,
out
we had
over
a name
the
for the
square.
picture. Today we called it.
Oh, you called it
Summertime,
Portland,
early morning, downtown.
It was a long name, a good name, but a long one.